he discovered the truth. Let's take a look at your little extramarital affair, shall we? We are going to do that. Let's compile a list, Julie, of everything that a wife who cheats on her husband claims to say when she is caught in the act of cheating. To begin, the following are some of the more typical responses: I didn't aim to hurt you, or I didn't intend to hurt you, and he doesn't mean anything to me, it's just sex, as if that's meant to solve everything. I wanted to hurt you, but I didn't intend to hurt himself. In spite of the fact that it's merely sexual activity, at least it's sexual activity with someone other than your husband. Doesn't that make sense? There are two other solutions that are recommended regularly. I will do everything in my ability to make amends with you so that we can continue our lives together. In addition to the fact that I love you and only you, I will do whatever it takes to make things right with you. First things first, I want to make it clear that I do not believe you love me. You are not behaving in a manner that is proper with regard to the individual from whom you feel affection. Second, do you genuinely feel that there is anything you can say or do that will convince me that you are nothing more than a woman who is dishonest and plotting against her husband? Do you really believe that there is anything that you should say or do? To what extent do you believe that we have covered all of the various justifications in the Cheating Spouse's Guide? I could be the one to blame for this situation. Is it possible that I have not paid you the attention that you deserve, that I have spent an excessive amount of time at work, or that my business trips have left you alone for an excessive amount of time? On the other hand, none of this takes place under the circumstances that we are in. My success in the lottery means that none of us will be obliged to work, with the exception of your trips to the spa, the gym, or the shopping mall. This also means that we will not be required to work. A significant portion of the day is spent with us together. There is a possibility that I devote an inordinate amount of time to activities such as fishing, playing ball, or golfing. This is the reason why you cheated on me with another man after we had the opportunity to be in a relationship together. The fact that I do not participate in any of those activities makes it impossible for me to achieve that. When it comes to expensive trips and treating you like a queen, that is all I do for you. I am your personal service provider. All of that is true. So, if there is something that I am missing, what is it? I would like to express my position, which is that there is no justification for you to become a cheater, there is no explanation for what you did. You studied journalism, so let's have a look at 5 components of our brief news article. Without a shadow of a doubt, you are able to recollect who, when, where, and why these things occurred. Let's take a look at each of them in that order, shall we? I am not interested in knowing, and I do not care about it either. Had I been aware of the situation, I would have been taken into custody for assault or probably even murder, and I would have been sentenced to incarceration. If we were to get together, what time would it be and where would we meet? At the time that this took place the previous evening, it was in a room that was located in a motel. Simply this time, at the very least. In spite of the fact that I am convinced that there were a number of other times and locations, I am not aware of any other times or locations. I have a feeling that you and I are both aware of the particulars of what transpired during the brief romance that you participated in, aren't you? And finally, the fact that I am not bothered about it is the most important component of the subject that I am addressing. As far as I am concerned, it does not matter to me whether or not you had sexual intercourse with someone or why you did so. It is sufficient that you carried it out of your own accord. When you got back to your house, you were required to make weekly excursions to the veterinarian to get your pet spayed or neutered. One and only difference was that you were extremely anxious, your hair was not done, your nails were the same as they were when you left, and it felt as though you had just completed taking a shower. This was the only change. You were using birth control pills in addition to spending 2 hours at the gym twice a week, which resulted in your workout clothing becoming less wrinkled and sweaty. In addition, your workout clothes were no longer highly wrinkled. For some reason, I was working in the back of the closet when I happened to stumble onto your hiding place by accident. What are the reasons for the necessity of taking birth control pills? In light of the fact that you did not wish to have children and that you did not take pleasure in using condoms, I underwent a vasectomy prior to our wedding. Due to the presence of these circumstances, I underwent a vasectomy. Everything else was only a question of following you and keeping an eye on the activities that you participated in. The only conclusion that made sense was that you had a lover or lovers going on the side. The idea that you would ever hide your tracks is completely implausible. My initial instinct upon entering the room at the motel was that the first thing I wanted to do was to physically assault both of you. I wanted to do it as soon as I could. I intended to cause harm to both you and your sidekick. The only thing that prevented me from smacking you in the face and destroying everything in that idiotic head was my ability to control myself. That stupid head was the target of my desire to rip everything out of it. There is a strong possibility that I would not have been able to stop if I had started with him. If it weren't for God, I would have been able to hold back. In the event that this idiot were to compel me to do time in jail, the amount of punishment offered would be outrageous. You never put yourself in a position where you could be hurt. I would never, ever hit a woman in my entire life. The temptation, on the other hand, was a significant obstacle. In spite of the fact that kicking his rear and slapping you would be excruciatingly unpleasant for both of you, at least from a physical point of view, it would not cause you to suffer as much as it is causing me to currently suffer. As you go, make sure to take your valuables with you. In order to avoid forgetting that I do not hit ladies, I would appreciate it if you would leave. Neither calling me nor leaving a message is required at this time. Try not to go meet me or send me a text message. I won't be interested. It wasn't only that I forgot where I lived, I also forgot that you had ever known me. I was completely forgetful. I have misplaced my phone number. As a result, there will be no conversations taking place. In addition, there are no marriage counselors who are attempting to explain why you behaved in such a manner, and there are no therapy sessions or conversations that are assisting me in forgiving you. I am unable to forgive you, and I will not. Both you and the regulations that govern divorce in this state are a complete and utter piece of garbage. Because we have a no-fault divorce, it does not matter whether partner is at fault or how poorly they behaved, they will still receive 50% of everything. In a number of states, I have the ability to file a lawsuit against you for breach of contract. One of them would be perfect for us to call home. Oh, I could file a lawsuit against your lover. It has been a year since he has had a job, and I am going to presume that this is the amount of time that you have spent my money on him, so that he can become accustomed to the way of life that he desires to lead. After the divorce, you will receive your fair portion of everything. It's possible that this is exactly what you've been looking for all along. Not in the least bit does it upset me. Even if I were to lend you 50% of my wealth, I would still have more than I could possibly purchase with that sum of money. The fact that you will be reimbursed for ripping out my heart is something that not only makes the situation worse but also causes the skin to quiver. It would be amazing if there was a way to cause you the same amount of pain that I would cause you. I wish I had some kind of magic wand or word that I could use to make you feel the same way that I do. I wish I could make you feel the same way that I do. In the event that you are sincere in your love for me, the punishment that you will receive is that you will not be permitted to be in my presence. If I were to think of anything, this would be the only thing that would come to mind. If you want to spend my money, you are free to do so, but you will eventually become exhausted by living without me. You will come to the realization that we may have a fantastic time traveling and doing new things together each time you go to a new and exciting location or experience something new. This realization will occur every time you move outside of your comfort zone. In spite of the fact that it is quite improbable that it will irritate you, I would like to think that it will. I have no other option except to accept that as true. That is exactly what it is, a protective mechanism. I will let you know what will be of concern to you when your activities are made public, and it is essential that you take note of the fact that information about them will be made public. I will make sure that it takes place by me. Your reputation will precede you in things that you are recognized for. The idea that any man in his right mind would ever want to engage in conversation with you is completely absurd. Due to the fact that you have a history, no one will be interested in developing a genuine romantic connection with you. The fact that you will have to confront life alone yourself or with guys who are simply interested in utilizing your body or my money is something that is unavoidable given the circumstances. In conclusion, I would not put my money on the possibility of having to deal with the fact that you cheated on me with someone who appeared to have been involved in a fight with another person and had his rear end kicked while they were fighting. If he was in town the following day, I told him that it would happen again and again and again until he left or until he died. I told him that it would happen till he died. It would continue in this manner until he either departed or passed away. Assuming that you are aware of the fact that this small town is not large enough for the two of us, I will proceed with certainty. What gives me the ability to know this? Are you unable to recall my acquaintance who had served time in prison from the past? He is now aware of the story that I have told him. It sounds as though he conveyed the story to a friend, who then told it to another friend, who then told it to another friend, and the most recent buddy was so dissatisfied that he talked this piece of left town with your partner the day before yesterday. In light of the fact that he was unable to hold you while having a broken arm, I presume he did not think that you were even worth fighting for. It is important to note that at the time when everything occurred, I was taking part in a game of poker with a couple of my friends. Our chat came to an end when I said, "Pack up your junk and leave," which was the last thing I said to her. "Given that I will be back in a few hours, you had better get out of here as quickly as possible. This is a caution to you, Julie, that you should merely bring your jewelry and apparel with you. Your vehicle will remain in this location, and you are free to call a cab or another person to transport you. Everything that you leave behind will be given to the Salvation Army or another organization of a similar nature. You should make sure that there is nothing missing from this residence other than your personal belongings if you do not want me to tell another story to my friend who was formerly incarcerated." The majority of Julie's apparel was gone by the time I arrived at my house, which was around 3 hours after I left. Among the products that were still available, there were a few pairs of jeans and some affordable items. The majority of her cosmetics and her jewelry box were also missing, in addition to the item in question. Despite the fact that I won't miss the lying and cheating that she is currently involved in, I will miss the person that she used to be. The fact that she was a powerful, muscular blonde who took pleasure in towering over me, was in addition to the fact that she was lovely and alluring. The sexual encounter was quite spectacular, and we had a lovely time together as a group. Although there were instances in which she made me feel terrible, on the whole, she was a person who was amazing. During the process of pouring my first glass, I came to the realization that my close friend Jack Daniels and I needed to have a chat about how we were feeling. My eyes were opened to the future. I am going to be unpleasant for a period of time, despite the fact that I am not going to pass out and die, nor am I going to do anything dumb like allow myself to become intoxicated. After preparing another glass of bourbon, I took a sip of it, and then I made the decision to throw the remaining bourbon down the drain. I was satisfied with the overall experience. The first thing that came to my mind was that there was no reason to go there, and then I remarked out loud, "Life goes on." Subscribing to our channel is something you should do if you want to make certain that your second chaff does not cheat on you. You should also make it a point to listen to the story that follows after this one, since the one that comes after it is very different from the one that you are currently listening to. Should you be younger than 18 years old, you should not even contemplate listening to the one that is about to be presented to you.